every year for ANZAC Day, I always paint in my art journal. So come and join me today as I make a rosemary painting. Rosemary is a symbol of remembrance for ANZAC Day. Poppies are Remembrance Day. So we're doing a rosemary today. So the very first thing I need to do is paint a background. I want the background to be very loose and like blurry, so I'm just going to use a biggish brush for the size of the page and lay down some water. And then I'm going to add mostly green, and then down the bottom here I'm adding in some red to blend up into the green. I also added a little bit of blue, kind of as a nod to the ode of remembrance, so at the going down of the sun and in the morning. And I'm just going to add a few little splatters of that red warmness, which are kind of evocative of poppies almost, even though that's not today's symbol. I think it's a nice inclusion for the background. Just add a little bit more pigment to get that colour how I want. And I think now I can leave that to dry and we'll go for a walk outside into the garden, and I'm going to grab a sprig of rosemary to use as my reference. It's being a little bit tough. You can see with the ground exactly how dry it is out here at the minute. So I'm just going to lay it down here on the side of my page. And I'll just open up my palette properly because I am going to need to mix up some extra paint to get the greenish colour that I need. So definitely kind of like these dirtier, more earthier tones down the bottom. This is the Sakura Koi travel palette, and I've had this for, I don't know, maybe 12 years. I love it. It's kind of like my go-to. And you can see I'm not big on cleaning off the mixing board, so I'm just going to mix it up. And the colour I'm actually mixing first is for the stem, is what I'm trying to do. And you can kind of see my background there did turn out, very pale and loose and fluid. So I'm just going to add in the shape of my stem to get me started. Obviously that's also pale, so I'm going to have to go over that a couple of times just to get enough pigment to show it off. That's looking a little bit better there now. I'm happy with that shape. So this green I had here that I used for the background is fairly close. I'm just going to try. Cat has come to say hello. Great. Uh, Hi, Scarlett. So I'm just going to mix up a green, which is kind of, yeah, using this olive green that probably has a proper name, and just darken it a little bit. I'm just going to have a bit of a fiddle here. That burnt umber is like my favorite. And then this green over here I use a lot in that color. I use a lot of these colors in the morning sketches. Watercolor that I did a video on a couple of days ago. So I've got a bit of an idea of where I'm going. I'm just holding my rosemary there to keep an eye on, the colors close enough. And this little brush, just start making some rosemary kind of shapes. Start painting it in. Scarlet is still on my desk, and yeah, thank you for the tail. That's wonderful. Apparently, it's now the Scarlet channel. And a little visitor. What are you doing, child? Oh, watching for the cat. I do see. So glad somebody's watching my water pot as I'm trying to just get these leaves in place. I feel like it's coming less pigmented as I come down. So I might have to come back and add some more pigment to those, dry my brush off a little bit and try and get those a little bit darker, a bit more like the top, and see if that helps. It's helping a little bit. And I think I just need to fill it in. Like it looks like a decent kind of base, but I'll just mark in the stem again. And it's just not showing up very well, and I don't know why, because the background is definitely dry. I tested that first. But we'll see if I can just kind of brighten this up a little bit. And that's getting a bit better colour in that stem. I don't want it to be overwhelming because you can't overly see the stem in there, but I also need it in there, and then I'll overlay it with some extra rosemary to obscure it a bit. I think trying to do it in little breaks in between the leaves is going to be harder. So I'll just try this brush here that's completely dry and see whether that helps transfer the paint a bit better. I think it's actually because the top is looking more vibrant because it's on a green background, whereas down towards the bottom here it's on blue and then pink, and so the colours are working against each other. But that's okay. I'll just fill in this top section and make it a bit floofier. I don't know if that's quite the right term for rosemary, but we'll go with that. And I think that's just about done. Just fiddle a little bit more. It's not quite fat enough there in the middle. And it's starting to look a little bit better, I think. And I think that's done. So I am going to grab my pen. My favorite one to use is these Micron Pigma pens. And I'm just going to write in here simply just lest we forget. And then I'll date the bottom so I know if for future reference what year I did it, because when I was doing my flip through I kind of got confused. And that is my little ANZAC art journal for this year. Thanks for joining me for my mini vlog, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video.